Hey, Fidelity. What's it cost to invest with the Fidelity app?
Start with as little as $1 with no account fees or trade commissions on U.S. stocks and ETFs.
That's music to my ears.
I can only talk.
Investing involves risk, including risk of loss. Zero account fees apply to retail brokerage accounts only. Sell order assessment fee not included. A limited number of ETFs are subject to a transaction-based service fee of $100. See full list at fidelity.com/commissions. Fidelity Brokerage Services, LLC, member NYSE SIPC.
This episode is brought to you by Nerds Gummy Clusters, the sweet treat that always elevates the vibe. With a sweet gummy surrounded with tangy, crunchy nerds, every bite of Nerds Gummy Clusters brings you a whole new world of flavor. Whether it's game night, on the way to a concert, or kicking back with your crew, unleash your senses with Nerds Gummy Clusters.
You are listening to the Smugglers Galaxy podcast, my favorite podcast to listen to on long flights across the galaxy.
This is the way.
We're wanted men. I have spoken.
Welcome to episode 291 of the Smugglers Galaxy podcast. Your favorite Star Wars podcast for smugglers in the galaxy.
We can just go with it and skip all of them. You just skip 50. No one cares. No one's paying attention.
Nobody is. They're like, what the heck, man? Actually, it's 231. That's a joke from last week where Jason messed it up and then had to come back around and say, hey, I messed up.
I fixed it.
Yes, you did. You fixed it. How you been, Jason? It's been a minute.
I'm fine.
Yeah?
Well, I mean,
How's
it's
your
been
week?
a minute. Our meetup was essentially just us.
Our meetup, that was the worst attended meetup I think I've ever been to, man. I don't know what all I can do is I guess blame Facebook, but you know, we shot for the stars and we didn't even hit the moon with that
We didn't
meetup.
get off planet.
Oh my goodness.
You, Susan, and I. That was it.
Right. And I had originally thought we would have 15. Then I moved it down to 10. And I should have just said, let me just leave it at 5. And yeah, that was a depressing ride home.
Well, I did a Facebook poll afterwards, and it seems like people want to just hang out and chill at houses. So we don't have to worry about going to places like that anymore.
Right. Well, they did feel bad for us. And actually, they more for me, I guess, because it's all under my name. They gave me like a whole bunch of free games and then gave me 2 passes for 5 people for 2 hours of bowling. So, yeah, maybe we can try it again, or maybe we can. Maybe we'll take the girls bowling one day. I don't know.
No, they had the shot. No. No. Not happening.
Yeah. So yeah, that was depressing. But yeah, I don't know. And then people are like, we had a meetup today. It's like, dude, I've been pushing it for like 3 weeks. Where have you been?
Facebook is just gonna push the things that make people angry, not the people that angry online. They don't want you to turn off Facebook and go to a meetup.
Right.
So it's gonna work against us.
Right, because we even had one guy who was like, man, if I'd have known, I would have come. It's like, we moved the meetup, because normally we live, for those of you that you don't really care, but we've been keeping stuff in our area because me and Jason live like 20 minutes apart. And the majority of meetups for the last year feels like they've been up near our house. So we decided to move one further in town, and we should have just kept it up here. It would have been just as well attended.
It would have been easier.
Yeah.
Shorter drive home.
Exactly.
Well, the traffic wasn't an issue.
No,
Saturday,
it was fine, but yeah, it was just, I was just shaking my head. But anywho, Other than that, how's your week going?
Picked up a couple items in the past couple weeks. I didn't share what I picked up last week because I just got into it with Sean, but I did pick up yesterday at Target. They had that Ewing, the I don't know what you would call it. It's the blue one
Uh-huh.
from Rogue One, and it was clearance to 50% off. So I got that for $15.
Nice.
And then I also picked up a unused card back slash proof. They call them proof. A lot of people, the common nomenclature is it's a proof, but it's really just an unused card back for episode one Micro Machine use.
Nice.
I got that up at a good deal, so I
Yeah,
grabbed
how was
that.
yeah. I'm sorry, I cut you off again. How was the swap meet? Because I didn't go to that because I was partying.
Swap meet was not my jam this time around.
Uh-huh.
I'll put it that way. There's a lot of VHS, a lot of games, a lot of cassette tapes, a lot of Funko,
Huh.
not a lot of Star Wars, or if it's the kind of Star Wars that you see we see at every other show.
Right.
So I don't know. It was kind of a wash. I didn't really pick anything up from that. I didn't
Gotcha.
get anything from that period.
I wonder if people are holding out for Toylanta.
It's possible. And then, the following weekend at Toylanta is the next swap meet.
Ooh,
So we'll go to Toylanta and then
have a swap
uh
meet.
you have a swap meet. So anything that you didn't pick up at Toylanta will be available at the swap meet. But it,
Yeah.
but it is cool. The Treasure Hunt Antique Mall now has like a dozen toy vendors
Oh,
where
that's cool.
when I first started attending this thing, there was just only one was it Retroville Toy Stuff
Yeah,
Place?
Retroreal Martin's
Martin's Place.
shop. Well, that's good. I haven't been in that mall in a minute. Maybe I need to go check it out next time I'm there. Plus, they always do like 20% off during sales, so or
Yeah,
during swap meets.
yeah.
So maybe I'll check it out. Yeah, I'm a little nervous about Toylanta. I think it's gonna be. I'm excited for it, but nervous at the same time because I've gotten out of all the stuff that made me excited for it. If that makes any sense, because I'm not doing the Four Horsemen stuff anymore. I'm sorry, retro. Fresh Monkey Fiction is supposed to be there, and I was real excited about their stuff, and then I just kind of canceled all my orders on Big Bad Toy Store for that. I think I just kind of got aggravated with the whole situation, and I don't know. We'll see. I guess we'll see what happens. I know.
I was talking to a
Yeah.
vendor at the toy swap, and I'll keep him nameless or keep him or her nameless, I'll say,
Mhm.
who has vended in the past at Toylanta and
Mhm.
didn't get in this time around to Toylanta. This individual said that when the call for vendors went out,
Mhm.
they were immediately placed on a wait list.
Huh.
I guess they had filled up already
Wow.
and couldn't get in. So I was just a little worried that some of the local vendors, I mean, it's good for a show like this not to have the same thing over and over again because we were just joking about how if didn't pick something up at Toylanta, you could pick it up the next weekend at the toy swap. But I still want them to get, they're our friends, and I want to make sure that they get a wide selection of people to their booth. And the best way to
Right.
do that is a giant convention like Toylanta. So I was a little bummed to hear that.
Yeah, that's I'm
It-
surprised. I'm happy for him for Toylanta,
yeah,
that the vending booth sold out that fast. But yeah, it sucks for local vendors because that was a good way to get your stuff out and get
yeah,
because it was such a local toy show. And as much as I enjoy the Powder Springs shows, I think they've cannibalized a little bit the Atlanta Toy Show
yeah.
market. Because now not only do we have Powder Springs, then we have the CCS in Stone Mountain that does shows every weekend, and you do get people. More shows are starting to sprout up. So I don't know if it's hurting Atlanta or how. I think it's more at this point hurting Atlanta more than anything. But we got a good toy community. We definitely have our pick of the litter when it comes to toys.
I feel like there's something else that I picked up, but I didn't write it down. So
Oh.
maybe I'll remember next week.
Yeah, I haven't I'm trying to think. No, I haven't picked anything up myself. I like no. The only thing
No.
I picked up was beer. I can tell that story here in a minute, but that's it. We I was at we went to a brewery in New Orleans and they were had their cases of Oktoberfest. I guess they didn't sell well for them. They had them for like $10 a case. So I picked up a couple of cases and we were in an Uber, so I'd only got a couple of cases. And then Mandy was like, "Well, we'll have the car tomorrow." So when I went back the next day to buy more, he was like, "They're buy one get one free." And I was like, "Well, I guess I'll take 10 cases." So I brought 12 cases of beer back with me from New Orleans.
Okay.
Yeah. Jason's like, "Yay, beer." Yeah.
Yeah, you don't have a
It's not
problem.
Star Wars. Get back to Star Wars. But yeah, so I'll have beer for the next year or so. It'll be great.
Pepsid Complete knows that food is one of the best parts of game day. That is, until heartburn strikes. Thankfully, just one chewable tablet of Pepsid Complete provides dual-action heartburn relief with an antacid that starts working instantly and an acid reducer that lasts all day. So you can stay focused on that second helping of chili without worrying about heartburn. All day based on 8-hour symptom relief studies during the day. Use product only as directed.
The last thing you want to hear when you need your auto insurance most is a robot with countless irrelevant menu options. Which is why with USAA Auto Insurance, you'll get great service that is easy and reliable, all at the touch of a button. Get a quote today. Restrictions apply.
That's all I picked up. We did really good in New Orleans. We went to the brewery and then we stayed there too long. But anyway.
Well, I have some news, and then you can go
Yes.
into your New Orleans trip.
Yes, news.
I should have. So we did the bingo card right before you left, and I thought I took the easy road by saying that the Galactic Star Cruiser would become a restaurant. What I really wanted to say was a warehouse. I was like, what is the worst thing you can do with that building and make it a warehouse? And I just thought, never in a million years would Disney take their $1 billion investment and make it a warehouse or a restaurant or Imagineering offices. And
I
that's
think
what
that
they've
was
ended up doing.
the
They
worst
announced
thing
that
they could have done. Go ahead.
they announced that the Galactic Star Cruisers is becoming offices for Imagineers. It's not going to open up anytime soon. If they do, I mean, it's quite possible in 5 years after they do all the investment in the Magic Kingdom and Animal Kingdom, Hollywood Studios, and Epcot's done. But once they get done with all that, they got to do something with that building, and I don't think they're just going to demolish it. So there was a rumor that they were doing testing for a food service thing with employees inside the Galactic Star Cruiser, but that turns out that it's probably something for the parks, not something for a guest experience in the space.
Right. Do you think that they could do both with it? Turn half of it into offices and half of it into a dinner? Or is it not enough room?
No, it's my understanding that this will become Imagineering's offices for the expansion in the next 5 years. I don't think they're going to want guests hanging out near
people.
Disney offices.
Right. That's a real bummer. But yeah, I'm mad that I didn't get to go, but I don't think I could have done 24 or 48 hours of LARPing, even though it's Star Wars.
Yeah. And after that Jenny Nicholson video where there was no guidance as to what they're supposed to be doing, they were just running around trying to insert themselves into the storyline somehow.
Right.
I mean, it seemed like it was just luck. You know, maybe you had a kid and Disney felt like, oh, this will be the demographic for the storyline, and we'll just engage them.
Yeah.
Leaving other people out.
Yeah, I think that, and like a lot with Disney, a lot of it was still on your phone or data pad, or I don't know if they gave you a data pad or not. And then you had stuff to do on Batu, and what, you know, it definitely, I think it could have done with some more guidance instead of just go have fun. And I think it was just a cluster from the beginning. And as soon as people saw that $5,000 price tag, they didn't want to do it because like I've been saying, I said if it was, maybe 1500 to May 1500, I think I would have done it and not even thought twice about it. 2000, I had to think about it, and 5,000 is like no way in hell for that price point.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. I should go back at some point and go check out Project Orange Harvest, which was their tease at the first D23 that they
mhm.
had, where they were showing what was coming to the Star Wars land at the parks, and it was before Galaxy's Edge.
Mhm.
I think they made some hints and promises that obviously never came to fruition because we don't have a Tatooine land.
Right.
But it'd still be interesting to go see, and I'm still again waiting for them to incorporate Batu into content.
Yeah, I think what happened with Galaxy's Edge is they made these big promises and then they ended up putting it behind a paywall, i.e. the Star Cruiser, and then Star Cruiser failed, and now I hadn't been as much as I love it. I haven't been in 2 years, and when I went, it was a after hours event, and there was no atmosphere there, so there was no stormtroopers or anything running around. So you've been recent, or have you been
No,
recently,
I
or
have a trip coming up, and I'm going to the Disney World one. The cannons at Rise of the Resistance at Disneyland have turned back on.
yeah,
There's section in Rise of the Resistance when you're in the vehicle and you're against the window and you're between the window and cannons, and these cannons are firing and they're like coming out of the wall and they're pulling back as they fire, and the car vehicles will stop and go based on that. So like at one point the cannon will be in front of your car, then it pulls back and your car will go forward, and then it fires behind you while another one's firing in front of you. And I guess they found out that this is the reason why a lot of the ride was shutting down, was they were getting an error message, um, because that movement has to be perfected. Like you can't have a gun firing and smash into the side of your ride vehicle.
right.
And so if something's off just a centimeter, an inch, it's going to cause an alarm to go off. They have to shut down the ride and figure out what's going on. Come to find out it's these guns. So it's just easier to put them in B mode
Mhm.
and let people go through the ride without that experience. Maybe they worked out the kink at Disneyland and they're testing it and they'll apply it to Disney World. I'm hoping.
That would be
Um,
cool.
I heard somebody call uh, 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 Walt Disney World the swamp park because it's just like nobody cares about it. It's just the swamp park.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely I have that feeling, especially within the next 5 years that they also may be like people are going to come no matter what, so forget about it. I was watching a TikTok and somebody was saying he was commenting on how he wanted to go do the Muppet Vision before it shut down, and for him to just walk through the door was $200. And that's not including that's parking and getting in the doors, $200. And then he just went on this. It was too long of a TikTok to watch, but it felt like a 10-minute TikTok. But he was saying, how in like 10 years ago it was $100 to get in the door. Now it doubled, and the experience hasn't doubled. Basically, it's
Yeah.
been basically cut in half.
Yeah, it's a metaphor for what's going on right now is prices keep rising, and a lot of it is just corporate greed.
Yeah.
We can do this because we've done this, and it's not sustainable because at some point people are going to have to start cutting back. That's the problem Disney's having right now is like you were saying, tickets are $200, and once you get people in the door, you need them to spend more money in order to sustain what they've been making in the past, and that's just again not sustainable.
Mhm.
So they're gonna have to do something like they're gonna have to blink and bring prices back down to let people come back into the park at a decent rate.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember in college I spent $45 to get into the park,
Wow.
and I lived right there.
Yeah.
So
It'll be interesting to see what Epic is going to push them to do
22 years ago, it was $45.
Man, to go back to that. I remember I think I took my kids to Disney and it was $3,000 and for a week,
Yeah.
the four people.
Yeah.
So it's like I'd love to go back to those prices. Now it's $3,000 for me.
Yeah, that's part of the other problem is you've got these corporate executives making like $2,000. It's like 2,000 I don't even know the 2,000% more than the average worker.
Right.
So when you're making millions upon millions of dollars, like, oh, sure, $200, that's nothing. That's fine, but it's, to the average worker, that's a lot of money.
Yeah, it really is. Um, yeah, I
It,
don't understand it. I wish things would change, but I don't think it will. I wish, part of me, I don't know. I've always said, if I pay $300 a day to go into Disney World, but there's no lines or very little lines, I'd be down with that. But I know it's not feasible, for them long term.
see what happens there.
Yeah.
At Toy Fair in Germany, Hasbro had a poster as part of their booth display, and it revealed the new land speeder.
Yeah.
So we can expect a new land speeder in the vintage collection. A lot of people were focused on the land speeder. They didn't really pay attention to the new C-3PO, Ben Kenobi, and Sand Trooper.
Right. And you were like, look,
They're coming. More vintage collection. Because I got my Luke Skywalker. It's a fabulous figure. Like,
Mhm.
the fact that this Luke Skywalker is VC 344 is a problem. This should have been VC01.
Yeah.
This should have been the first figure Hasbro made. And I know they had that line that came previously, the original trilogy stuff, but and so it should have been in the first 50 re-release it.
Yeah. I mean, do
But
you?
to be fair, real quick to wrap this up, to
Yeah.
be fair, they did consider what came before that as part of the vintage collection. And as we moved away from it, the vintage collection's become its own thing. So now people wanted a number on the back, but it should not have been this long.
Right. Do you think that's what's one of the problems with the vintage collection? It took them that long to redo the first 12, or at least the 5-4.
No, I think the problem with the vintage collection is there's not a diversity in offering. Like, it's all clones, Mandos, and battle droids at this
Right.
point right now. We need aliens and droids.
Oh my.
Oh my. We've got the Cantina coming. Like, throw some of those figures in the line.
Right. And I mean, even with the Ghost, how hard would it, I mean, redo a Hondo, Did they do a Hondo TVC?
Yeah, he came on a Star Wars card. And he
Okay.
also came with the Smugglers Galaxy. Smugglers on Millennium Falcon, sorry. It's late on Friday night.
It's Monday night.
That was a joke.
Oh, yes.
I know where I am.
Oh my gosh,
Wait,
it's
I
been a
forgot to put
day.
pants on. Yeah, like Vizago. That's his name, right?
Yeah.
We can get a Rebels Lando, a Rebels Leia.
It'd be great. I mean, we had all those in the Rebels line, but they were 5 POA.
Yeah, they're cartoony.
Yeah, and they were definitely very cartoony. But yeah, I mean, it would be awesome to have those with the Ghost.
Yeah. Well, even going back, they at one point said all the characters who interacted with the Razor Crest season 1 will be made into the vintage collection, and we're still waiting for figures from that prisoner, like Miggs Mayfield, Q90, the Berg. I don't know if that's the character's name. It's got to be Berg.
The thing they rode?
The Vortian, like Clancy Brown, the devil guy.
Oh, yeah.
That they were all on the Razor Crest. But did they mean but they've also made the main characters from season 1. So were they specifically saying like the main characters who interacted with the Razor Crest will come out?
And whatever the Mandalorian, however dirty the Mandalorian was at whatever point during the season, we were going to make those.
Yeah. Every version.
Oh, he was white. Oh, he had a little bit of mud. He had a lot of mud.
He was muddy.
And that was, yeah. No, I feel you about that because it is how many different versions of that are you going to need?
Yeah. And to go back to your original 12 question, there's several figures there. Like Ben Kenobi's coming, and the Sand Trooper's coming. They've already had the Sand Trooper, but we've just got the Leia. So there's plenty of figures that they can go through and release. So
right.
C-3PO has never been released on a Star Wars card. It was an Empire card.
Did he come apart?
I don't think so. Well, technically he does. His face comes off and he can become the episode one C-3PO
Okay.
with the gears and
Well,
stuff.
didn't they do that with the droid C-3PO too? Isn't that the same sculpt?
It's the same sculpt, yeah. So they reuse things quite frequently in the line, which is fine. I'm all for creative repacks, but they use like the bar R2, the one that was on the barge.
Uh,
They reuse that one a lot instead of one that because he's got a hole in his head where you would put the tray.
yeah.
So they use that one a lot throughout the line. Even Antok Merrick's droid is the
Uh,
bar R2D2.
and they still have
So
that hole in the head?
he still has the hole in the head.
That's lazy.
I mean, it's part of the game. It's just reusing the tool, I guess, over and over again if it makes sense. But there's
Yeah.
other R2s where this is where I was going. There's other R2s that they could have used
Mhm.
without the hole in the head.
Unless they broke the mold.
Yeah.
Yeah.
According to Deadline, Percy Jackson and the Olympians was the top dog on Disney Plus. It had 3 billion minutes viewed. Remember,
Mhm.
that's how they track how successful a show is by how many minutes it was viewed. What do you think the second place show was?
Wasn't it Andor? No, it was a Star Wars show, wasn't it? Or oh no, it was Acolyte or something,
Acolyte
wasn't it?
with 2.7 billion minutes viewed. So I, I don't know if it was like the loud people were just extra loud and that's why it got canceled,
Mhm.
or because when you've got viewership like that, you would think the show's successful. You got Percy Jackson who got picked up for a second season and the Acolyte gets canceled for
Yeah.
a point, a 300 million minute view difference.
I mean, do you think they would pick it back up and decide
Yeah.
that no?
No. And this is my unscientific best guess is that when they looked at it and they said, because Disney's big about like the ancillary stuff. It's not just the movie itself, but how much money can we make around the movie by selling toys and this and that. And maybe they
Mhm.
looked at the Acolyte and said, yeah, 2.7 people viewed it, billion minutes were viewed. But we can't sell this product down the line. So let's just cut our losses and go with something else.
Huh. I
That's my speculation.
and the thing that sucks about the Acolyte is the best part of it was the 15 minutes when they left you with like 5 cliffhangers.
Yeah, I'm sure there's a comic book coming up someday that'll explain what happens next.
Mm.
Um, Derek Hoffman is the new vice president of business of development at Lucasfilm. That was quietly found. It was quietly put up on the Lucasfilm website. It was found by the r slash Star Wars Leak subreddit.
Mhm.
It was pointed out that this guy is there, and Rain Roberts, who had the title beforehand, had the title since 2012 when Disney took over Lucasfilm. She's no longer there.
Hmm.
So I guess someone looked up, according to Internet Archive, she was still there December 2024. I don't know if they asked her to leave. I don't know if she decided I'm out. This is not worth it.
Mhm.
I'm not doing what I want to do. Like it's a lot of speculation on my part, but I would imagine since she was credited as a producer on The Acolyte that somebody had to take a fall, and it's not going to be Kathleen Kennedy.
Yeah.
Again, just speculation. I could be completely wrong,
That's an interesting speculation.
but when you have a disaster like that, I would imagine somebody needs to take the fall for it.
Yeah.
And
Well, I
then
mean,
a rumor.
how
What?
how far into her career was she? Well, you said 2012. I mean, how old? You don't know age.
She was there. I don't know how old she is, but she was there since the start of. No, she's not. She's younger than Kathleen Kennedy.
Okay.
So if Kathleen Kennedy hasn't retired, then
Well, that's
I
on our
wouldn't
bingo
expect that.
card.
He'll be on the
So
bingo
was
card every year. It's just a free space essentially, because eventually she's going to retire.
Right.
Uh, a rumor circulating from a very untrusted source that Henry Cavill is going to join the Star Wars universe in some capacity.
Mhm.
Because it's an untrusted source, I don't believe it until I see it. So,
Right.
but it's a lot of chatter out there right now, so that's why I thought I'd bring it up. Probably as a villain, but I don't know if I want big stars in my Star Wars stuff.
Mhm. I just want good actors.
Because when I see Vin Diesel in a Star Wars movie, I'd be like, that's Vin Diesel.
Yeah. Has he been in a Star Wars
No, he
movie?
hasn't. He hasn't. I'm just trying to come up with like a see that took you out for a minute.
Yeah.
The
Well, then
Rock. You don't. I wouldn't want The Rock in a Star Wars movie.
right. He would, Vin Diesel would just go, I am Groot.
Maybe or just family. I want Star Wars family.
We're all family.
We're all family here. Even Vader's my family.
Oh my God. So when we were bowling, we were talking about Susan talked about how she rode the Fast and Furious ride at Universal. Have you ever rode that ride?
No, I haven't written it.
He says family about 30 times in it.
Have a drink every time he says family.
Yeah, you would be drunk. You couldn't get off the ride.
It's all about family.
Yeah.
Um, that's pretty much it. The only other thing I wanted to say was like I was thinking about this over the weekend. Andor's become one of my favorite Star Wars characters. That kind of snuck up on me,
Yeah.
but I really enjoy everything that he's in. I like him as a character. I'm rooting for him. He's an underdog. I think he's everything Star Wars should be.
Yeah. No,
Anyways,
I can't
so
argue. I mean, it's a good show. It's coming out here, what, a couple of months?
70 days.
Wow. Jeez. That's a long way away.
It's probably, well, we'll say 68 as of tomorrow because
Okay.
I don't want to say the other number because he'll act like a 12-year-old.
Yes,
Oh,
I
I remember
will.
what was the other thing I picked up?
Yes, what was it?
Sam. Sam in
Oh, did
West
they come in?
Virginia. Yeah, came in the Micro Galaxy. He was able to find the Darth Maul. What is that Mandalorian ship called? It's a 1 of 15. But he was able to find two at Walmart. I haven't been able to find anything in my Walmart's vintage collection, Micro Galaxy Squadron, any of the normal stuff, not like the Ewing, but like, regular
Yeah.
items. I'm not finding anything.
It's got to be that Ohio. I know he's in West Virginia, but he goes to Ohio sometimes too. So it's just got to probably that part of the country.
Maybe.
Just throw it on a pile of stuff you got for me, Jason. Thank you, Sam.
Yes, thank you, Sam. You're a saint.
Yeah. What's next?
You went to Virginia. No, you went to New Orleans.
I did. I went to New Orleans for my annual Chewbaccus parade. So before we got on, I found a new term for it. It's called a marching parade instead of a walking parade now. I guess that's their new term, but they're starting to do floats. So there's some floats for it, but the majority of it is walking, and it's all sci-fi. And I think they had 150 crews, so it was like a 2.5 hour parade of nothing but sci-fi stuff. So if you guys are looking for something cool to do, go down there because you're gonna catch the front end of Mardi Gras, so you can get the king cakes and you can still get the feel for Mardi Gras, but you don't have the craziness of it. This year it felt because this is our 4th year, I think, going. We decided it's because we went in 2020 right before the world ended. And then 21, we found out about the parade in 20. And then 21, they didn't have Mardi Gras. And then in 22, we went back. And then 23, 24, 25. So this is our 4th one staying. We stay at the same B&B. It's
You
a
booked for
Legion
next
Inn.
year?
Huh?
Did you book for next year too?
Yeah, we have a standing reservation.
Oh, okay.
It's one of those where you're coming back next year. Yes.
Okay.
And then because they don't, sometimes they announce the date, sometimes they don't. We're thinking it's going to be the 27th of February, so the day after MLK Day, the weekend after MLK weekend is what we're guessing. But they haven't announced it yet. But yeah, when we leave the inn, it's like you're coming back next year. Yes, and she just knows that she'll basically close the inn for that weekend, the reservations, and then talk to everybody, and then open it up when she's talked to everybody.
Right.
This year was kind of crazy because there was a lot of people there. I mean, a lot of spectators. Um, and we decided to kind of step away from where we were from our original from the group of people and stood a few feet down. And there was a lady with a megaphone who was kind of annoying. She was, I was talking to Jordan about it, and or maybe you. It's like, or somebody said she was at a 12, and we needed her to be at like a 3. Because if she was at 3, it wouldn't have been as annoying. It would have been, I'm trying to save my voice for the whole night and get people to recognize me. But at one point before the parade, somebody threw a PBR can at her and hit me. So that was fun. But I had no clue who it was.
Damn.
Yeah. And then when we went back to I got to the point about 10 minutes into the parade that we went with our crew because I was tired of dealing with that lady. And then there was another group of ladies standing to one side of us, and they just kind of kept running into me, like not running into me, but like itching closer and closer to me. And like, I didn't want to be that jerk that was like, "Ma'am, come on." But they ended up leaving, so I think the people kind of took me out of it this year. But it was all in all, it was fun, a fun parade. They had the guy who played Colin Robinson and from What We Do in the Shadows was there. Because the parade was supposed to be this weekend, which was Super Bowl weekend, which was in New Orleans. So they weren't going to do a parade the same weekend as Super Bowl. So they changed the theme of the parade to the Superb Owl. So if you watch What We Do in the Shadows, they went to a Super Bowl party and they thought they were going to see the Superb Owl. So they had the guy who played Colin Robinson was there, and I yelled at him and he threw me a throw. So they do these bandoliers I got a bandolier from him. So what you do is you wear this bandolier. It's got a big thing like Chewbacca bandolier, and it's got a big thing of Velcro on it. So people will make things to go on the bandoliers. So they look for people wearing bandoliers. And to catch one makes it even better. So I had one. Mandy had made some for for the people at the inn, and it works, man. I probably got like 10 or 15 little things to put on it, and it was cool, man. I got you a little card. They did a mix of the Big Lebowski and Star Wars. They had a big life-size Salacious Crumb walking around handing out business cards.
Abides.
Yes, the force abides. It's a cool. It's there. All the throws are handmade, so it's like a big swag meet. We've gotten to the point where we will buy shots and trade shots for throws, and I feel really bad, or I don't want. Because I have somebody come up and give me a sticker and want a shot, and I'm like, you're giving me a sticker. But I still do it. It's like, that's not the point. I want a nice handmade throw if you're gonna get a shot from me. So we got a full bag of stuff. I've got to go through it, and but they're all handmade throws. They're all people spend months making these things. So it's like a little mini, or actually it's not a mini swag meet. It's a full on swag meet. But with Star Wars and Mardi Gras, and it lasted like 2.5 hours this year. And yeah, Mardi Gras.
Okay.
I don't know what else to say. I mean,
normally go on for a couple of hours or at least an hour with this.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, it's just like I said, it's our 4th time going. We found out about it because we were Star Wars people. The inn saw we were Star Wars people and was like, "Hey, there's this Mardi Gras parade," and we're like, "Oh!" And it comes right by the inn. It was cool because we got to see sort of the start of the Super Bowl preparations while we were down there. And they did a big light show on the cathedral that we got to see because we stayed till Monday. So the parade was on Saturday and we stayed through Monday because Sunday we normally, I'll go see my family. And when we walked the quarter Sunday night, you could just feel the vibe had changed because they were in Super Bowl mode. So there was a lot bigger presence of cops. I've never seen that many cops in the French Quarter because you're walking around and they're all over the place. And but when we walked back by the cathedral, they had started the light show, and we got to see that, which is it. I don't know how to feel about them throwing lights on a 100-year-old church, but I mean, if everybody's okay with it, I guess I'm okay with it because my OG Catholic comes out.
Hmm.
But if the Super Bowl wants to pay them, the NFL wants to pay them to put lights on the church, and they're willing to let them do it. I mean, I guess let them do it. It was kind of cool to see. It was very. I did feel like it was the birthday castle from Disney World at one point
Yeah,
because it
yeah,
was very colorful.
yeah.
So I mean, it was fun to see see that part of the city, um, in Mardi Gras and Super Bowl. It all mixed into one was kind of crazy. So yeah, we did
That's
good. We ended up at a brewery and just spent way too much money at the brewery, but it's always
yeah.
fun.
All the stuff that you set aside for action figures is just bought beer.
Yes, it's all in beer.
It was a good Super Bowl. I'm happy. It's not often that I get to root for the winning team.
I thought you were rooting for the Chiefs.
No, I'm an Eagles fan.
I thought so, man, but you were just like, I'm gonna push for the Chiefs because I want a three-peat.
Well, that was before I knew the Eagles were going.
When did you figure out the Eagles were gonna be there?
2 weeks before.
Okay, so you knew when.
Yeah.
Dude, I felt so bad. We were watching it. It was one of those where you're just like, I feel so bad for Patrick, but it feels so good to just watch him be normal for
Yeah,
once.
it's a true test of his character because he took it well, but
Yeah.
all that talk going up to the Super Bowl, will he get a three-peat? Will he be the GOAT? It's funny that Tom Brady was the official calling it because he's attributed as being the greatest of all time. And here you got Mahomes trying to do something that Tom Brady couldn't do, which is win three in a row.
Mhm.
Um, and he fell apart. It's all mental. It's all in your head. It all got to him. Like, will I be the greatest of this game ever? No, he fell apart.
Yes,
And
he did.
and now we don't have to worry about that. He fell apart in front of Tom Brady too. And we don't have to worry about this talk for another 5 years because
Yeah.
if they come back, it's not going to be another 3 years until possibly we have to have the GOAT discussion again.
Right. And that's if, like Travis Kelce, he's thinking of retiring. And maybe we won't have to see Taylor Swift that much. I was surprised they didn't show her that much. I think she got booed when they first showed her at the Superdome. So
Yeah, there's
I
a
don't
couple
think,
celebrities that were booed.
yeah,
Just keep it on the game. That's what we came for.
right. Yeah, I was kind of hoping that they could come back a little bit and make it a game. And it was funny because you could just feel Tom Brady wanted to talk about the Falcon game and he never did. It would always come up, and then like right before the halftime, they were like, the biggest lead was 25 points, and they never mentioned it. That's all they said. They didn't want to mention the Falcons again. And I was listening to the radio, and somebody was saying that they really wanted the Chiefs to come back so that they could stop talking about the 28-3 Falcons loss.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a bitter pill to swallow to just keep, or no, it's salt in the wound, I guess.
Yeah.
But I loved it. I loved that they were just destroying the Chiefs. I was just laughing every single time they won, and I'm like, oh, this is what it's like to be on the winning side. This is nice. Syracuse always breaks my heart.
Right. And you're just like, yeah. Yeah, yeah, it was like every sack because normally you see Patrick can get his way out of a sack and then there's a 50-yard throw and it's like he couldn't do that.
He was so shaken, he got sacked a couple times, and then he couldn't throw the ball because they got in his head.
They did.
And he was already in his head for the whole, am I the greatest of all time? Will this cement me in that role?
Mhm.
He played his worst game ever.
Right. That was wow. Watching somebody fall apart like that was pretty amazing to see.
Well, thank you for listening to the Football Galaxy. Or anything else?
No, I think we're both exhausted.
Yeah. I think this is what, almost 50 minutes of a show?
Yeah, we're good. We're right
Pat
at 50
ourselves on the
minutes.
back.
Yeah.
With a few senior moments aside, I think we did a good job. So if you want to rate us, go ahead. You can leave a 5-star review of our show wherever you listen. It really helps us out. Brings people to our show. Okay.
All right. Bye.
Well, I'll do the whole thing.
Do it.
Okay. Thank you for listening to the Smugglers Galaxy podcast. If you could, please leave a like. I just said 5-star review of the show anywhere you listen to podcasts. It really helps us out and points people to our show. You can follow us on social media. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Send us an email or message us. We'd love feedback. We'd love to make you part of our show. Our email address is smugglersgalaxy@gmail.com. Thank you to Alfonso Riviera for the Smugglers Galaxy logo. And thank you to Levi Waterhouse for the music. People collect for the love of it. Hashtag what with your wallet. Pass on what you've learned. Be a positive force in the collecting community. Fly, Eagles, fly. This is the way.
This is the way.